Welcome back, my Duelist friends. Casual Duelist here, and I'm back with a speed duel deck that I actually meant to have for you guys this week, and it's been built, it's been sitting on the playmat. It's finally time to get this thing filmed. I wanted to update the ultimate wizardry skill. So when this one came out, this was one of my favorite skills out of that box. And I loved it not just because it made spell counters relevant, but like I just love magicians. I really think that if you break down Yu-Gi-Oh! Into its core concept, it has always been a game of wizards versus dragons with the occasional warrior group every now and again. And this is perfect for it. So when we get to activate this, flip this over when you activate it. What do we get when we do? When you activate this, place up to one spell counter on each face-up spellcaster monster that can place a spell counter on it. Additionally, once per turn during the main phase, you may place a spell counter on a face-up spellcaster monster you control that you can place a spell counter on. So, infinite spell counters, right? Not bad. So, obviously, with the new ban list, Breaker has seen himself off. So we can play this freely at 3, which is great because when he comes in play, he's going to give himself a counter. We can flip the ultimate wizardry. Him and his friends will all get another counter. And again, as long as we keep using his, we can really take out the back row real quick. Since we don't have to worry about the back row so much, I've decided to tech in one copy of the Maiden of Macabre. Now, the way that she works is when she destroys an opponent's monster card by battle, she will give herself a spell counter. She will gain 200 points per spell counter that she gets. If she is the start to the ultimate wizardry, we can start her up with 2. This will take her up to 2100 to start. This is actually very good. I do have 2 beefier monsters in this deck. I'm running the Magical Marionette. A little 5-star starts at 2k. Every time a spell is activated, it gets a counter. Every counter gives it 200 points. And when we choose to remove counters 2 at a time, we get to destroy 1 monster card on the field. So again, this gives us great battle advantage as well as the potential for just absolutely busting through walls. And we're also going to play a copy of the Dark Red Enchanter. So this one is considerably better depending on the occasion. If this one is normal summon, it gives itself 2 spell counters. Each time a spell is activated, it gets a spell counter. Every spell counter powers him up by 300 points. And we can remove them once per turn in sets of 2 to discard a random card out of our opponent's hand. And again, in Speed Duel, you got to remember, we start with a card less in our hands. So being able to rip those options right out of the opponent's hand, this matters. This is actually going to give us more advantage in the long run. Now, I saved the last 4 monsters for last because they're more of like a little engine. And it starts off with Double Apprentice. This is the sort of set it and forget it character. Normally, if this card is summoned, we can target a card on the field that can get a spell counter and give it one. But normally, when this one is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, we get to special summon a level 2 or lower spellcaster from the deck in face down defense. Face down defense means flip effects. So we can go ahead and use Magician of Faith if we want to go ahead and recur a spell card that we want to use again. Or we can go into the old Vindictive Magician if we're looking to just get a pop destroy. Either way, this strategy is going to thin our deck out a little bit, which will speed us up to some extent. Moving into the spells, you are going to run 2 copies of Lure of Darkness. These are on the 2-ups. Again, most of the dark, everybody's saying, Magician of Faith is dark. This should always resolve. It's good for draw. We're going to run 2 Books of Moon. These are part of the 3s. Again, it shuts off a lot of effects, like if we were playing against Breaker, a lot of good cards that are great offensively or very weak defensively. So Book of Moon is just going to go ahead and do its job for you. We're going to round our 3s off with a Cosmic Cyclone because you don't always want to use the Breaker's effect, even though it is very easy to get counters back. And this is just simple back row retaliation. Same thing with the 1-of. We're using the MST. You guys want to use something else? Go for it. Absolutely, my decks are always just supposed to be considered like a baseline of what you can do. Last spell card we're going to run, 2 copies of Shrink. Again, everybody here's like 16 or above to start for the most part. And so Shrink is actually pretty good here. Since we have so much back row hate, there's not too much that we got to worry about from the back row. It's good stuff. And as far as battle tricking our larger cards out, I'm going to be teching in 2 copies of Magician's Circle. So the way this trap works, again, when a spellcaster declares an attack, does not need to be direct. Don't worry about it. Could it be your opponent's spellcaster attacking you? Doesn't always have to be your own spellcaster. It just happens that every card we're running is. Each player will then special summon a spellcaster from the deck, 2k or less attack from the deck in attack position. Again, this is one of those things where the opponent may not have one, so they don't get one. Or they may only have Magician of Faith because they're looking to recur a card. And since it's a special summon, it's going to be face up in attack mode, and you're going to dispatch it real quick. Or it'll be their Breaker the Magical Warrior, and again, it's a special summon, so no spell counter, and you'll dispatch it real quick. This card really does help put your opponent at a disadvantage when they run spellcasters. Just 1 second, I'll be back with these extra in the side deck. Alright, starting with the side. First card we're using, single copy Dahlgren. Again, this falls within the whole Book of Moon strategy. We go ahead, we out a monster that we can't beat. Maybe they're playing big time fusions, maybe they're not. Either way, we're going to go ahead, we're going to use this. Second up, we're going to use Mind Crush. Again, we're in the middle of the ban list. Things are pretty predictable. This is pretty easy to use. 2 copies Lost Wind for the special summon decks. Again, fusion is pretty relevant with the GX cards running around. So this is actually going to help us out. And then last but not least, Waking the Dragon. So Waking the Dragon, again, gets destroyed, gets banished. It's in your graveyard or it's in your remove pile. One or the other. What's happening is you get to special summon from the deck or the extra deck. Now, this is another great way of putting out your spell counter monsters. Or we can just use the generic good stuff extra deck. And the generic good stuff extra deck just has what I consider to be the 6 best, most varied effects for any deck that's not using fusion at the moment. This gives us the biggest card with Crush, the card with the most effects, Pop Destroy, that allows us to just go ahead and potentially do burn damages. You get the Ajama King, makes it very hard for the opponent to play if they don't have enough zones. And Thousand Eyes Restrict, one of the OG extra deck monsters ever. So this is the deck. I do hope that you guys enjoy it. I am looking forward to seeing some more requests. I do have another fun one prepared for this Saturday, so that'll be a thing. And if you guys come back on Thursday, I've got another throwback deck for you. It's kind of a baseline thing, but I think you guys are going to enjoy it, so come back, check it out. Do the things, don't do the things, my friends. Go out, enjoy your day, make it about you. Make sure that you focus in on the mental health and have a wonderful time, okay? Hope to see you guys again next time. Later.